Real quick, I'd like to give a massive shout out to all the homies on Patreon who chose to support the cult and help keep the lights on. If you want more information on how to support the channel and get your name up here at these fucking chads, check out the video description below. All right. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. This video is a brief one about phase 1 best in slot for Demonology. I'll go over all the slots and some options for those that were curious. Before we begin, please know that I stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Crix5s, and please hit that like button before we even start. Okay, yes, scroll down and thumbs up. Yes, you see that red button that says subscribe, click it and make it gray. Thank you. Before we begin, a note for you Demonology Warlocks. There are two types of Demolocks in the world. You have the guys who are purely there for support. Their job is to 100% do everything they can to supply the largest demonic pack buff that they possibly can for their raid. That is their sole purpose in life, even at the loss of their own personal DPS. On the contrary, you have the guys who are there to blast, and that's it. Whether there's multiple demos and they can just blast, or the guild doesn't mind them taking more of a pumper role and losing out on some spell power and spirit for the demonic packs. This is talked about a lot in the Warlock community, and which one you choose is completely up to you, and more importantly, your raid leader. The difference in gameplay from the two differs slightly, but not much at all. Your rotation more or less stays the same, besides you use Potion of Speed for the haste rather than Potions of Wild Magic for the 200 spell power. The bigger difference between support demo and personal demo is the gearing, and more importantly the stats. Without getting too deep into it, the most common difference objectively is as a personal DPS demo, you would choose haste and would gear more like an Affliction Warlock for the most part. Whereas you could literally take the Affliction phase 1 BiS and use that pretty much. Whereas a full support demo chooses the pieces of gear that would give up that haste and to a degree some hit rating for a healthy amount of spell power and spirit. There's some gear sets where you can even sacrifice a good chunk of hit to get an even bigger amount of spell power or spirit, thus giving up a good bit of personal DPS in return for some huge demonic packs. As an example of this phase 1 support BiS running only 7% hit, but gaining 250 plus spell power. I'm personally a full support demo that gives up and will continue to give up some personal DPS in order to buff my raid even more. I don't care about my purses. I don't care about my damage. To a degree, you don't want to completely butcher your you shouldn't be bottom of the meters because of this, by the way. You're only supposed to give up a little bit of here and a little bit of there to get a whole lot of here. If that makes sense. If you're the only Demolock in your raid, then I would suggest a nice middle ground, giving up haste pieces for some spell power and spirit pieces, while giving up only a % or 2 of hit to achieve the same thing. But at the end of the day, the decision is solely up to you. You are playing your character, not me. Just know that if you're the only Demolock in your raid and they're gearing you up specifically for that reason, then I personally think it's fine to give up some stats to buff your raid. For the sake of this video, I will not be listing every single piece of gear that you can get for your personal DPS. Instead, if you're a full personal support DPS demo, click off this video and go watch the Affliction one. That's what I would say to do, because that's more where you're going, right? You should be gearing more like an Affliction Lock would, giving up spirit and spell power for more haste and crit and whatever else and hit. Okay, a quick note on gems. You should be using Chaotic Skyfire for your meta gem, and only Chaotic Skyfire your meta gem. None of that meta gem switching shit for that 2% mana. We're not mages, we life tap, okay? After that, you need to use 2 Twilight Purified Opals, which are purple gems. This will activate your meta gem. Then put Rune Scarlet Reds in every single side of your red sockets. And then after that, any yellow socket with a good socket bonus that gives either haste, spirit, or spell power, use Reckless Monarch Topazes unless you're severely hurting for hit. And then you can use Veiled Monarch Topazes or even Rigid Autumn Glows. Please note that if given the option, to make sure that you have points into suppression, as that's much better than using any hit gems. Okay, starting with the tier 7 set bonus. You need the 4 pieces Demonology, which makes our life tap give us an additional 300 spirit, which is very nice because both our Fell Armor and our Glyph of Life Tap give us more spell power based on our spirit. When it comes to dealing with this 4 set, you should not be life tapping any extra times to keep the buff up. Rather, just life tap as you normally would, and you will get a passive buff on you. I personally like to life tap, maybe 1 extra time before going into my execution range. That's so my first few Soulfires are start slinging, got good spell power on them. As for which 4 pieces to use, I suggest head, shoulders, chest, and gloves. This is the most optimal for gearing because you can use Leggings of Mortal Arrogance as a very, 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 very good pair of pants. It is important to get your 4 set however you can though. This means that if you need to wear tier 7 legs to achieve that, then it's worth it. Some good options for that would be tier 7 pants and then Hood Irrationality, Gothic's Cowl, or even Cowl of Vanity, as they're all strong with metagems. For your neck, you want the Wormwrist Necklace of Power. This is the best neck that you can get, and it comes from Malgos. But this is a quest reward from Saphirion and Nax, meaning it's very contested. In the meantime, you can use Chain of Ancient Worm. It drops from a 10-man eye and is very, very good and usually never contested. Shoulders, chest, and gloves should be your tier 7 pieces. You should never have an issue getting these, especially as Demonology. Get them, equip them, and use them. Next, Cape of Unworthy Wizard is the best cloak for support Demo Warlocks. You should generally have no issues obtaining this, as all the other casters, including you personal DPS pumpers, would like Pennant Cloak. Like I said, if you're more on the personal side of Demonology, then just pick up that Pennant Cloak. Unsullied Cuffs from 25-man Obsidian Sanctum are best in slot. However, it's extremely contested, so feel free to use Bands of Impurity, as they all have a socket and are pretty good, and will hold you down until you can get your hands on Unsullied Cuffs. Side note, if you find yourself hurting for hit rating, then Bindings of the Expansive Mind are an amazing alternative. Leash of Heedless Magic is the best option for both support and personal demo. Both Censure, Polarity, and Girdles of Bane are good alternatives you can use while waiting to obtain your Leash of Heedless Magic. Leggings are a very interesting slot with a few options. Leggings of Mortal Arrogance is the best in slot pants for support Demonology Warlocks. This gives you an insane amount of spirit, which, as you know, we love as support demos. Not only that, but you also get a huge amount of spell power and 2 sockets to add even more spell power. Leggings of Wanton Caster are amazing pants that are more on the personal DPS side of things. But if you already have them, then just use them. These are amazing. These are highly contested as is, so don't trip if you already got them. Another option is to wear any of the less impactful but still strong legs from the raid. Leggings of Atrophy, leg wraps of the Defeated Dragon, and of course, leggings of the Wanton Caster, however you say that word. I'm thinking wonton soup every time, I don't know. Arcanic Tramplers are the best option for boots. They are from Malgos and the Eye of Eternity, and they are also buy and equip. However, they are extremely expensive on most, if on all servers. I am on Benediction, and they are right now about 17,000 gold. Boots of Impetuous Ideals, boots of Forlorn Wishes, and Serene Echoes are good alternatives to hold you over until you can obtain your Arcanic Tramplers, whether that's from raid or farm the gold up to buy them from the auction house. As always, you have a ton of options for rings, and which ones you choose are based on which ones you can get your hands on. The absolute best in slot ones for Demonology are Band of Channeled Magic, which is very easy to get considering they only cost 25 Emblems of Valor, and I'm pretty sure you already have these. The next one is Lost Jewel. It's your best second option as it has the most spell power and spirit on it. Other amazing rings you can use until you obtain the best ones are Signet of Manifested Pain, Signet of the Malevolent, Ring of the Faded, and Ring of Holy Cleansing. Honorable mention to Deadly Gladiators, Band of Ascendance. This is a huge PvP ring, which I don't usually typically name PvP and arena gear, but this has amazing stats and more importantly, a huge chunk of hit rating. The best part is you can farm this up really fast in a couple days. Trinkets are pretty straightforward. You want Dying Curse and Sundial of the Exiled if you're a support demo. Both gives you insanely high spell power procs that will both exceed the spell power of Illustration of Dragon Soul. However, if you're full personal DPS Demonology, then you can use Dying Curse and Illustration. Both are highly contested, so feel free to use Embrace of the Spider until you can get your hands on the better trinkets. Side note about Illustration of the Dragon Soul. Any ability can proc this trinket. You want to use this at full stacks before the boss fight starts and for the entirety of the encounter. This is very easy to do with a rank 1 life tap. This will allow you to keep your trinkets stacked up full time with minimal loss to your health. For weapons, it's pretty straightforward as well. You want Turning Tide. Demolock should be getting this pretty fast in most guilds. Haunting Call, Life and Death, and Soulblade are all really good alternatives to use in the meantime. If really unlucky, you can use one of the staffs like Damnation, Spire of Sunset, or Staff of Restraint in the meantime as well. Offhands leave you a few options. The best in slot one is Matriarch Spawn, as this gives the most spell power and spirit. Surplus Limb is an amazing alternative if you still need hit rating, while Watchful Eye and Accursed Spine will hold you down until you obtain one of the better ones. Lastly is the wand slot. You have a few options for wands. The best one you can get is the wand of Archlick. Archlick? I don't fucking know. This has the most spirit and spell power you can get on a wand. You can use Gemmed Wand of the Nerubian, Plague Igniter, Fading Glow, and Rod of the Fallen Monarch, and even Wand of the Saline until you can get your hands on the wand of the Archlick. Archlick. I don't know. I get it. I give up. All right, guys. That's it for this one. Just wanted to get you guys a phase 1 BiS for Demonology. I hope you all have been vibing and keep on pumping. Before you go, please leave a thumbs up on this video, leave a comment if I missed something, and as always, I stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/CrooksVibes, where I stream 6 days a week on 2 different Warlocks and some other stuff. Big cheers and be safe out there. Peace.